Hey fight fans, today in this video, the weekend is almost here where UFC 280 will take place in Abu Dhabi, and it is being headed by two title fights. And of course, the main event is going to be between Islam Makhachev and Charles Oliveira for the lightweight championship belt. And us fans have been waiting a very long time for this fight. However, all the fighters still have to make weight. And Dana White, well, he delivered a tough ultimatum. If Charles Oliveira does not make weight, he will not get the title fight with Makhachev. And Islam Makhachev's coach, Javier Mendez, has no doubt that after he wins the UFC lightweight title, Makhachev will be able to then go and win the welterweight belt, even if it means beating undefeated Chechen fighter Khamzat Chimaev. But first, in order to get there, he has to go through a very dangerous opponent. Oliveira's coach Diego Lima reacted to the words of Khabib, who recently said that Makhachev will ride Oliveira like a horse. According to Lima, making such statements only makes Makhachev look worse. So we're going to see why he believes that, and will Makhachev cope with such pressure? Finally, at the end of the video, why does Makhachev make opponents wash their hair before they fight? And if he has asked Oliveira to wash his hair before the fight. So let's go. But before we get started, I want to thank each and every one of you for supporting our channel. Please be sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already, because it helps motivate us to make new and interesting videos. Thank you in advance. Well, by looking at fighters' social media, it is clear that prior to UFC 280, Islam is nowhere to be found under strict guidance of Khabib and Javier Mendez. Meanwhile, Charles is enjoying life in Abu Dhabi. He's going shopping, having fun with his team, and just overall having a really great time. And he feels like he can do this because he normally doesn't have problems making weight, but we know that that's not always the case. However, before the fight with Justin Gaethje, Oliveira failed that weigh-in due to incorrect weights that were provided by the promotion. Now, this fact has become known to everyone, and no one doubts that the missed weight was not the fault of Oliveira, but the drama has already happened. The UFC stripped him of the belt. Now Oliveira looks absolutely relaxed before the fight, but Dana White has delivered him a tough ultimatum. If Charles does not make weight, he will not get the title fight with Makhachev. And as for Islam Makhachev, in the last interview, he admitted that he only had 5 kilograms left to get to his desired weight. So at UFC 280, Makhachev could take the first step towards moving up to welterweight. But in order to do this, he not only has to defeat Oliveira, but he also has to endure another test. The most important thing is to successfully make weight. And Islam Makhachev's coach Javier Mendez has no doubt that after winning the UFC lightweight title, Makhachev will be able to go on to win the UFC welterweight belt, even if it means he has to beat undefeated Chechen fighter Khamzat Chimaev. He said Islam can move up to welterweight, and I can see him win a title there with ease. As for Chimaev, Islam can beat him. But first, Chimaev needs to take the belt. He is a great fighter. You can't underestimate his skills. We'll see what happens if they meet one day, but it's still a long way off. Right now, our focus should be on Charles Oliveira. So you may think that Chimaev is prematurely being looked into, as they haven't even beaten Oliveira yet, but yet they're already trying to take over the entire welterweight division. But I think it's way too much pressure, first of all on the opponent and then on Makhachev himself, because everyone knows that Makhachev has a very big responsibility. He can't lose. Just imagine the kind of hate that he will get if he loses to Oliveira. Everyone will start saying that you yourself said that Makhachev is better than Khabib, as Khabib himself and coach Javier have repeatedly said. So for many fans, this will mean that Oliveira could potentially beat Khabib. But I feel like these trainers are not allowing Islam to relax, which is forcing Islam to be under constant pressure. But that's the style of preparation, and Khabib just a couple of days ago wrote on social media, more than 20 years of hard work, donations, and discipline. Diamonds are made under high pressure. So that left many asking the question, will Makhachev cope with such pressure? As you can see in interviews and in videos, he is doing well so far. For example, Oliveira's coach Diego Lima reacted to Khabib's words, saying Makhachev will ride Oliveira like a horse. And according to Lima, making such statements only makes Makhachev worse. He said what Khabib is doing is not good. He is a good person and also a great fighter, and has never been the kind of guy who talks all this nonsense about other fighters. It's good for Makhachev to have such a person next to him, as he needed Khabib to get a fight for the belt. And with these words, Khabib placed great responsibility on Islam. That's the extra pressure for his friend. And what will Makhachev do if he loses? Asked Lima. Therefore, all bridges are burned. There is no way back. All he wants is a win.
It's not fair to compare that Charles Oliveira is a different fighter when he was younger than he is now. But then in the earlier, when you were stating, is that Islam is not he's not confident, and he is confident now. He's got confidence coming along.
He wasn't confident.
But his mindset is not of that of like Khabib's. Look, a lot has happened since his one loss.
True.
But we don't know that yet. Look, things can change. You just proved to me, you said, because Oliveira's changed, that things can change. Islam could be the most confident son of a bitch in that damn cage on Saturday night. You won't know.
I think he's going to be confident. I think he's going to be confident.
His mindset could be just as
He's going to be a confident guy. But the difference being is, again, he has not, and this is and I'm not taking anything away from who he is as a fighter. He's phenomenal. But truthfully, and you said a lot of guys have ducked him. Okay, I'll say that's true.
Tons of guys.
I'm not saying you're wrong. I agree with you. I'm not, like I said, I'm saying that's true. But the problem is, he hasn't experienced that top 3 level guy, that top 5 level guy. He doesn't have one of them on his record. Not one. And that's the difference.
Is that his fault?
No,
that his fault?
Not at all. Not saying it is.
You know, he always pressure his opponent and try to knock him down because nobody stop him, nobody take him down, nobody want to go with him in the ground. That's why he go always forward. But my game is different, my plan is different.
He is not afraid to go to the ground. He isn't, and he's a veteran of the game. And the train continues to keep pummeling forward. And I also think that's what makes Charles Oliveira great. The fact that he's able to break the distance and bring the fight, throw knees up the middle. Nobody expects that. People expect a lot of hands. This guy is using every limb in his body, whether it's elbows, knees, his shoulders too. He'll shoulder bump you, and he's looking for other transitions. He does a lot of things that a lot of these great wrestlers in the UFC are doing. They'll smoke it, break distance, but he's not taking people down. He's getting around, finding the back to eventually the submission.
This is all understandable, but why does Islam make opponents wash their hair before a fight? And will he ask Oliveira to wash his hair beforehand? The fact is, at first glance, such a harmless thing as hair gel, as Islam says, can create a big problem for him, because Makhachev could potentially lose because of gel on an opponent's hair. In 2016, his rival Chris Wade entered the octagon with a beautiful hairstyle all fixed up with hair gel, and Makhachev admitted it was the hardest fight of his career, as during the fight Wade was sweating profusely and then the gel spread all over his body, which prevented Makhachev from using his main trump card, wrestling. Islam went to the ground in the first round, but Wade was surprisingly stronger on the ground than he thought. The American spent almost the entire round on top, and Islam tried to suffocate him with a triangle choke for several minutes, but was unsuccessful. The hair just becomes like butter. I could not hold the grip. The grip was constantly slipping. I didn't understand what was happening at all. At first, I thought he was tearing my legs apart with physical power, and I couldn't tighten the triangle normally. Then I revised it and understood what the reason was. Wade tried to guillotine him, and the judge even checked whether Makhachev had lost consciousness. However, that round took all the strength from the American, and the rest of the fight was all controlled by Islam on the ground, and then Islam won that fight by unanimous decision. So him asking his opponents to wash their hair before the fight actually does make sense. If you liked the video, don't forget to subscribe and like. It really does help the development of our channel, so thank you for watching.